So, jeez, I had a wonderful idea and decided, hey, let's just go ahead and tack this on to the last video. So instead of starting again from the beginning, instead of starting again from the beginning, I'm going to go ahead and just pick up where I left off. Audio works just fine. No need for me to adjust anything there. This first night with these wonderful people here in Manila, well, the first day with these wonderful people here in Manila seems to have gone off without a hitch. Most of the projects that I discussed as potentially opening up with them, they were very open to the idea of moving forward with them. So we're going to go ahead and pick up probably some item creation in eBay, some work with retailware, and I'm just listing off all these things that most of you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. It was an interesting trip out here. I would have to say that the biggest stressor involved with making it to this part of the world was getting my hands on the passport in the United States. Yes, folks, the most difficult part about traveling to a country that most of you have probably never even heard of, is getting the passport in your own home country. The amount of red tape that I had to walk through, and the amount of bull crap that I had to endure from the department was ridiculous. But I got the passport, got it Saturday morning before the flight, and headed straight out from work. We stopped on the way to the San Francisco airport, had Chili's, which was nice. No, not Chili's. Chevy's. Whatever. However you pronounce it. It was a Mexican restaurant. It was nice. It was good. I didn't want to eat that much because I didn't really feel comfortable trying to use the restrooms on the plane because, as you can tell, I'm a big guy. Can't really fit in the seats, let alone make it into the damn restroom. So I decided to eat light. Not a big mistake. I was fed well enough on my 2 planes to make it here to Manila without all that much difficulty, and feeling well fed a good 19 hours after I left Sacramento. So on the flight into Tokyo, things were pretty smooth. There were a couple times there where we lost some altitude. That was a little nerve-wracking, but I guess those that are used to flying on a plane don't really notice drops like that. The problem with the stop in Japan was the fact that we had to go to a different airport in Japan to make our flight here to Manila, which means that we had to go through immigration. Nothing wrong with Tokyo's immigration. It was fairly straightforward. It was smooth. The only problem I had was it was after a 10-hour flight. I felt disgusting. And that 10-hour flight was after a 9-hour day at work. Big benefit was it was nice and cold in Tokyo. Probably about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which was very comfortable for me after the 10-hour flight and then trying to make it through customs and security. I had to go through security twice in Tokyo. Once getting off the plane and once getting back on the plane at the other airport. There was also a 2-hour bus ride between the 2 airports. Now, I had 4.5 hours in Tokyo, and I was hoping that I'd get to spend at least a little bit of that time running around, seeing the sights, maybe getting a decent look at Mount Fuji. No, it was nice and foggy, so I didn't get to see any of Mount Fuji until after the flight leading out got us above the cloud line. if you've never seen Mount Fuji, it's quite impressive. I would have to say that was probably one of the most interesting sights I've seen on my entire trip here so far. That could all change once I go into Hong Kong, or hell, that could change when I get into Phoenix. I have no idea. But as it stands right now, Mount Fuji, probably the most interesting thing I've seen so far. There have been interesting things that I've seen, but I would still have to put that one at the top of my list. So, no seeing sights. The amount of time that it took me to get through customs and immigration at one airport was about an hour. And then there was the bus ride. And then there was about an hour and a half working with getting onto the next plane. So by the end of everything, I had no time to look around in Tokyo. I had no time to even pick up souvenirs for people that I had promised in Tokyo. So with that being said, I do apologize to those that I did promise presents to from Tokyo. While I'm here in the Philippines, I'm probably going to be hitting probably the biggest mall I've ever seen. It's absolutely huge. It's city blocks worth. I mean, I thought the Great Mall was big, but no. I thought Roseville Galleria was fairly big. No, none of these even come close. If you mushed all of the malls in Sacramento County together, you would probably equal about half of the size of this Mall of Asia. Number 2, that's the second most impressive thing I've seen since I got out here, is the Mall of Asia. That is quite interesting. So, hopefully, once I make it to the Mall of Asia, I'll actually be able to get gifts for those that I promised gifts to. But again, I cannot promise a damn thing. Since I got here, I've maybe spent a total of about 500 pesos, which for every dollar is 44 of theirs. And most of that was on Starbucks coffee last night and this morning. So, again, I apologize to those that I promised gifts to. The best you're going to get is something here from the Philippines. Maybe if I have time in Hong Kong, I'll be able to pick you up something from there. But as it stands right now, Tokyo is off the list. I was not able to get anything from Tokyo. Nothing that I would have liked to get you guys anyway. After leaving Tokyo, it was a 4-hour flight into Manila here in the Philippines. That was a rough flight. Mostly just trying to make it through the clouds. There was heavy cloud cover all over Japan. And breaking through those clouds, there were a lot of points where we would drop hundreds of feet. Just because that was a bit worrisome. We also had the same problem breaking the clouds getting into the Philippines. Just all of a sudden drop for about 4 or 5 seconds. And on that flight, I had a seat right next to the window. So that was scary. But I landed safely in Manila. It was a bit of a rough land, but it was a landing nonetheless. Everybody survived, so that's not a big deal. The airport in Manila looks like it was going through construction, so that was a bit weird. Especially coming in from Tokyo, where everything was just clean and focused, but the people there just seemed so anxious about everything. You get here in Manila, it's like everybody's relaxed, everybody's got the job that they're going to do, and they're going to do it to the best of their abilities, and they're going to do it with a relaxed air to them, which is fine. It was nice. It was a breath of fresh air after my time in Tokyo and working with JAL, which is the Japanese Airlines. Very nice airlines, by the way. Very clean, very professional. If I had one critique to give them, it was that I could not understand half of what every single stewardess said to me, which, my own issues. After making it here in Manila, we set up camp at the first hotel. I told you guys about that in the previous video, where there was no Wi-Fi. And tonight we have set up here in my hotel that we're probably going to be staying at for the rest of our stay here, which does have Wi-Fi. So every morning and every evening I'm going to be on here probably around this time, which in Sacramento is around midnight right now. And probably looking at about maybe noon or 1 tomorrow afternoon as to when I will be back on. So I'm going to go ahead and call it for now. Fairly long day so far, and I'm still waiting to get the call to go down and meet my boss for dinner. So we'll see how that goes. And until then, adios.